Hi everybody, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to my channel. So, so, it today is April 14th and, today is April 14th and today is the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, anyway, I'm gonna show you guys, we are honoring the people who were killed on the Titanic, like, John Jacob Astor and Captain Smith, Thomas Andrews, and we are honoring the survivors. The people who survived the Titanic was John Jacob Astor's wife, Madeline Astor, and Bruce Ismay survived, and Bruce Ismay survived, and Thomas Andrews died. He died in there. He died in there. And the RMS Titanic. So I'm going to show you around the ship. Here's poop deck. And third class cabins, propellers, second class cabins, Verdun and Palm Court room, cafe, Persian, hospital, second class dining saloon, engine room, first class promenade deck, the boiler room. Here's the a reception room. Here's the turret baths and the swimming pool. Here's the first class staterooms right here. Here's the gymnasium. Here's the wireless room, the grand staircase, and the whistles, the compass platforms, the first class lounge, and the first class staterooms. The wheelhouse, the bridge, the Morse lamp, the crow's nest, and the third class cabins. So that is what that is the rooms and the places on the Titanic. Anyway, and here is, okay, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Here's Maureen and John Thayer, and the Titanic departed from Southampton and on its way to New York, and then after that it struck an iceberg and sank in the North Atlantic, and here's the people getting ready for dinner at the grand staircase, and there's Captain Smith, and here's the icebergs, and there's Titanic right there. Here is the iceberg and stuff like that. And Here's a picture of the Titanic hitting the iceberg, And there's a picture of it still sitting there, getting ready to go down. And the picture of the flooding waters of the ship. And everybody getting the lifeboats, everybody getting to the lifeboats and stuff like that and everything right there. And there's a picture of it right there. There's a picture of it going down and tilting up a little bit. And, you know, they were launching the rockets. As it was going down and stuff like that. They were launching the rockets and another picture of everybody in the lifeboats right there. A lot of people did not make it out. A lot of people did not make it out of the Titanic. But several people did, some people did too, and a lot of them were not, you know, a lot of them did not survive. So, and then at about midnight or after midnight or something, the ship splitted into pieces. And thousands of people or 100 people were left aboard, and the thousands of people were left aboard and drowned and stuff like that. And then later on the next morning, the RMS Carpathia came to rescue the Titanic survivors, and okay, let me see how many people died. Okay, so the ones in red drowned, and the ones in black and the ones in black, they live, but the ones in red drowned and did not make it out alive. So, and then in 1985, Dr. Robert Ballard, a scientist, explores the ghostly bow of the Titanic in a submarine. And so, yeah. And here's another book. This is Titanic right there, and as you can see, it's, you know, departing in Southampton, and the history of the Titanic remains as far as everybody as far as everybody else knows, and stuff like that. The history of the Titanic remains as far as everybody knows, we all know we all know that back in 1912, back in the World History Days, and back in the when things were old fashioned and stuff like that and everything. And here's Captain Smith, and at 11:40 p.m. when the lookout Frederick Fleet spotted the iceberg, he said, "Iceberg right ahead," and the Titanic, the Titanic struck the iceberg, and how many lifeboats? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 boats, 19 lifeboats were floating, and 19 boats were on the ship, or maybe 20, because they didn't have enough lifeboats for everybody aboard. And so once the Titanic hit the iceberg, the whole section of the ship started to flood down to the bottom, and then about midnight, it broke in half. You know how sad that is? So, and then the next morning, Carpathia, the RMS Carpathia came to rescue the Titanic survivors. And then in 1985, as I said about a minute ago, Dr. Robert Ballard in 1985 and in 1986 discovered the history of the Titanic, it was about if you want to learn more about the history of the Titanic, be sure you watch the movie Titanic, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet and stuff like that. If you want to learn more about the Titanic, and the history of the sinking and the history of the ship, be sure you watch the movie. And go to your local library to get books to get books about it, or go to Barnes and Noble. Go to Barnes and Noble and learn and get books about Titanic. Okay, all right. So give this video a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Ring the bell. And I will see you guys for the ghost train stories later on this afternoon too. Okay. Okay. Bye everybody. Bye.